All right. Let's see where this goes. Don't worry if you're watching this. My hands aren't incredibly big. It's just quite a small sparkling water. Little bit's changed since I recorded something. Doing sober October. No alcohol. Or illicit drugs for that matter. Something that I've noticed is my internal dialogue is a little less. I don't know if it's too soon to say this, given that it's only the 13th of October, but it's a little less negative and self-critical, a little less catastrophizing thus far. And it kind of makes sense in a way, I suppose, when you are hungover. You're not really at your best. And it's easy for those thoughts to invade your mind and take over and cause you to question everything. But yeah, not too much to report at this stage. I think my body's still adjusting a little bit. And it's weird not having that crescendo at the end of the week where I let my hair down and break my narration, break that reality that's a little dull sometimes. Well, most of the time, if I'm being honest. Yeah, it's a little dull. You know, there's still ups and downs and contrast, but it's a lot of the same. And especially for those of us that have experimented with things and continue to take them, you know, the experimenting is no longer valid because we just reap the benefits of the substances we take, as opposed to broadening our horizons necessarily. Yeah, it's just a little labor intensive normally. And I like just being able to disconnect and feel intoxicated with less inhibitions and worries, and I get really optimistic in a lot of ways and confident. However, there's repercussions, to say the least, with doing that, especially regularly or weekly, as it is in my case. Yeah, I don't know if letting my hair down and being intoxicated once a week is too frequent. Probably. I don't know. I'd like to trim it down to maybe 1 or 2 nights a month. And maybe plan it out a little bit better. Put some thought into getting fucked up. yeah. That'd be cool, actually. Whether it's going away with friends or having a dinner party, going to the beach and having a bonfire and a slab of cold beers and a joint. Maybe some acid and shrooms, who knows? But I have to be careful because something that I notice inside of me is this yearning, this whispering in my ear to go harder, that you're not quite as fucked up as you need to be, Dave. So keep chasing the dragon, the illustrious dragon of optimal fucked upness. Yeah. There's something about just disconnecting and engaging and being playful with yourself and in the company of others. And as an adult, I suppose it's quite hard to do. Can't really comment on what it's like for a child, and no one's going to pay anybody to do a study to get them fucked up, because that wouldn't be ethical, would it? But I don't know, adults are just in this peculiar position where we need a break now and again from life. Well, mostly from work and our responsibilities and the drudgery of cleaning the dishes and showering and mopping the floor and sweeping left and right and getting the dustpan out and changing the bin liners and brushing your fucking teeth. Yeah. I like the idea of just being a little bit more deliberate in my behaviour. In all respects, really. You know, not just getting fucked up. At work, with my recovery, which is, ongoing. I've been thinking a lot about it, actually, just trying to schedule some time away from everything. And it's going to be very difficult to do, but I'm going to try. You might be wondering what I'm talking about. Well, when you wake up in the morning and you don't want to get out of bed. You crawl to the coffee machine. It gives you a lift for a little bit once you ingest it. You might have a shower and maybe some breakfast and brush your teeth and be inundated with a feeling of underwhelm, that life's boring, it's predictable, there's no variation, and it's a little bit like Groundhog Day. And we all experience the cyclic nature of life, whether it's the seasons or your mood or your work schedule or that period you set aside for holidays, whether it's at the end of the year or the middle of the year or after financial year, whatever it might be. There's definitely a little bit of a predictable nature to it, kind of like the tides in the ocean or at the beach or on land, rather. It's probably where you notice the tide more. And sometimes, I don't know, it's debilitating just noticing it. And don't get me wrong, like when you're feeling good and you're at the top or the peak of the cycle, let's call it, and things are connecting and you're in flow and things are going well, personally, professionally. Your intuition is working and guiding you, and maybe you feel strong or articulate. You make less errors in judgment. And you feel like you're having a good time and it's not so bad. Now, for me, having experienced, full-blown mania, it's hard at those peaks because I get this itch to push it further and feel deeper and get grandiose, and I start noticing things and my personality shifts a little bit, or a lot maybe, I don't know. From my perspective, it's just pretty fucking awesome at the time. And yeah, it's a strange sense of self-awareness when you're manic. And it's similar to what I described before, but it's a lot, and I mean a lot more intense than a good day. And it's a different reality where everything makes sense, where there's no downside. That's probably a good way to look at it. Where everything makes sense and there's no downside. And then, you might be starting to feel a little under the weather, a little worn out, a little stuck, making more mistakes, feeling out of tune, perhaps arguing. Not saying what you want and stumbling with your word choices and your expression in general, I suppose. And it's like a little bit sticky and nothing's working. Whereas for me, it's more like being handcuffed to a hospital bed. I feel one step removed from life. Pretty down, almost catatonically depressed, and it can last some time. And I know it won't last because I've outlived it a lot of times, many times. I don't know how many times. I stopped counting after a while, I suppose. But, I'll say to people like, yeah, I'm just depressed. I'm just depressed at the moment. And I'm not saying that looking for answers. I know full well how to lift myself out of it. And the real trick is just to stop trying to lift yourself out of it. For me, anyway. Yeah, I'm aware of where I am. It's like having 2 cement boots on and being stuck outside with the seasons on fast forward and wanting to do things and thinking about doing things, but you're kind of betrayed in a way, similar to a mobster throwing you off the end of a pier, I suppose. It's just it's a tough spot to be in. It's not enjoyable. I lose myself when that happens. And as I was saying, I'll tell people, and I'm not looking for a quick fix. I'll say to them, I'm depressed, but I know it'll go away. And reflecting on what I've said, we have these two scenarios, I suppose. We have, I hate saying this, but how most people feel and what they express. And, I'm a little biased because I don't know what's going on with everyone else. I only know what's going on with me. So I won't speak out of turn too much on what generally people experience. But yeah, for me, that cyclic nature of life, those, in tune and out of tune, polar opposites, are a little bit too deep and high. And I try to regulate things as best I can. And, when I'm up, getting a little bit less stimulated and making sure I get the sleep I need and that I'm not burning the candle at both ends. But fuck me, it's so alluring burning the candle at both ends when you're on top of the world and you think everything makes sense. And it's really hard for me to dig myself out of that that trough. And I think I have that. I'm not as active. I have that bystander kind of effect. But I keep doing everything. That's the thing. So I keep doing everything. Wherever I'm at in the spectrum, wherever I'm at on that sine wave. I don't stop. I have done so in the past, but that's where I'm kind of going with this, I suppose, is that I feel like I need to start stopping at regular intervals because, I don't really want to keep going like this. It feels unnecessarily painful. It's tough. It's pretty fucking tough if I'm honest. And it doesn't really seem to be getting any easier. I remember camping with a friend one time and there was this Bucks party happening, a couple of campsites over, and they got the music pumping and they're probably fucking racking up lines of cocaine and having a good time. And we end up going over there because, there's just the two of us and what are we going to do? Jerk each other off. So we head on over and there's these guys fucking cutting loose, high on life. And I distinctly remember one of them saying, in some twisted, drunken conversation that they said that life gets easier. I don't know, it always just stuck in my mind for some reason, However, I think life can get easier. I wouldn't say it doesn't, but I would say my particular approach isn't about simplifying things. It's about the full breadth and depth that I can experience, and I'm constantly pushing the fringes out a little bit more. It's kind of like There's that cyclic sine wave, but it's a little bit more like a pebble in a pond. And, I keep throwing bigger rocks in to see how far, what's on offer on the fringes. And I guess in some way it spills over and I lose a bit of myself with every iteration. Yeah, I don't think I'd like to change that anytime soon. Even though I've just mentioned how tough it is at times. I think I'd still like to engage in that habit of feeling what I can, feeling new things and being challenged and overcoming things. Because I learn a lot when I do that. But it hurts, it comes at a cost. And I'd like to start doing something about it. And I think a good thing is just having a couple circuit breakers here and there. It's going to be really hard to accomplish though, just because, if I have kids or I'm married and there's certain level of responsibility there, I can't just tap out when I want. But if I'm intentional and, give it a go at least, trying to have some respite scheduled once or twice a year. And no, I'm not I'm not talking about going on a holiday. I don't really, that doesn't work too well for me. I'm talking about refueling the tank, and to do that, I need to disconnect from pretty much everything. I need to get away, but I'm not going sightseeing. I'm letting myself die inside a little bit and just dissipating all the things that I've accumulated over whatever period of time it is in between such events. And you might be thinking, well, what does this look like practically? Well, in Australia we have a mental health system. In Victoria, the state I live in. And there's options for people like me with the diagnosis, and there's the public system and there's the private system as well. And there's certain mechanisms set up in place to try to prevent, overloading acute psychiatric wards or hospitals or whatever you want to call it, inpatient units. It costs money to keep people in hospital, and that it's not a very good strategy going there when everything else is falling apart. So I don't really want to go to like a public hospital, and I don't want to bore you with the details too much. But what I'd like to do is, find a psychiatrist that can admit me to a private hospital for like a week for, a check-in with, let's call it the medical model, where I can just, put some sunglasses on, some noise cancelling headphones, maybe like a fucking pouch of fucking ciggies, some Valium and other medication that they may or may not give me. I don't know. But the point is just to like tap out for like a week or so and just reflect and, you know, stop those ripples and let the pond just be still for a while. And maybe it'll start to refill a little bit. I don't know, you know, whether this will work. And as I said, it's going to be hard to implement given my responsibilities with, you know, work and my wife and potentially children in the future and, you know, lots of things. But I think it's something I am going to try and do. And yeah, I think it's a good idea. And maybe it will make, you know, those troughs, those down, depressed moments, less frequent. Maybe I don't know. But when I do get to those places, I'm like, fuck, it'd be nice to be on a break right now. And yeah, not a holiday. Because when I go on a holiday, I just I use it like respite. I push myself as far as I fucking can. Get all the way to the end of whatever I'm doing. And then take a break and go on a holiday and just recover for a couple of weeks. I don't, you know, I'm not actually enjoying that. I'm just sleeping and tuning out and yeah, disconnecting and disassociating for a while. And I don't like doing that, especially when, you know, it's supposed to be an enjoyable time, because I'm just refueling the batteries. I'm not enjoying myself. I'm not, you know, spending my days wisely, not working. I'm just recovering. I'm just recovering. And recovery, you know, it's different for everybody, but it's an ongoing thing, and it's something that I have to maintain where I'm at. There's a lot on the line now, and I don't want to fucking start from scratch like I have. I kind of want to. I've got a pretty deep, you know, foundation, but I'm just tired of sitting on the foundation. You know, I want to build something on top of it. I want to inch my way upwards. And I think I need to start setting up some things in my life that are regular and yeah, just will have a positive impact and will cumulatively make my life a little bit better and more bearable. And you know, I'm sure I'll still learn a lot and have my ups and downs, and tragedy will find me inevitably. But yeah, I just want to choose a little bit more. And yeah, maybe just a couple of top ups, you know, once or twice a year, and then, you know, you on top of that, having a holiday or whatever it might be. Maybe that will help me. I could just go camping or something. I don't know. But yeah, I think I need some like check-in, you know, in a supervised environment. And I'm utilizing that time to, not just for me, in a weird way, trying to tell other people like what I experience is quite debilitating and serious, and I'm not asking you to give me advice on how to fix it. I just need some time away from things. And I always work it out. I'm still here somehow. I always work it out. And maybe this little, this new approach might help and make me more comfortable and give me a greater capacity than I already currently have to do what I want, but support those in my life and support those that are close to me and those I work with as well. Yeah. I think I'll leave it there.